My name is Tim Blumentritt, and this presentation covers the Pestel framework. The Pestel framework is a tool for considering how broader societal factors can influence a firm's strategic position and therefore its performance. It is a key component of external analysis. First, a bit of context. Generalizing, firms operate in two external environments. Most broadly, firms, just like any other type of organization, are part of our society and are influenced by major forces in our world, such as political activities, economic dynamics, social trends, and technological change. Second, firms participate in industries or groups of companies that are distinct from others. The two environments share one important similarity. They can both influence a firm's performance in ways that are largely beyond the control of its executives. As such, analysis of the general and industry environments center on understanding their structural elements so that decision makers can properly position their firms within those environments to give them the best chance of success, even if those external environments can't be controlled. The remainder of this presentation covers the general environment. Others will discuss industries as a whole and the five forces model, a tool for industry analysis. Pestel is an acronym for political, economic, social, technological, ecological, and legal. Even if these terms are familiar, they have particular meanings in this framework. I have provided very brief descriptions of them on this slide. Political factors describe how governmental bodies and their decisions influence the state of a country, particularly how business gets done in that country. This includes decisions by the Supreme Court, laws passed by national and state legislatures, and regulations from units in the executive branch, like tax and health policies. Economic factors describe the state of business activities in the region. This includes general statistics like interest and inflation rates, the level of unemployment, and the levels of and growth in household income. It also considers softer measures, such as levels of consumer confidence. Social factors describe how people live their lives and what interest they have in that country. This starts with demographics and the culture of the people, but moves on to what captures their attention in the current day. Technology factors consider all of the tools that a country has to work with when doing business. This ranges from basic technologies like good roads and airports to the most advanced technologies like state-of-the-art communications and cutting-edge medical developments. Ecological factors consider the treatment of and attention paid to our natural environment. For instance, support for a development of alternative energy sources would be pertinent here. Last, legal factors describe governing laws. This factor overlaps with the political factor quite a bit, but consider legal factors to be the law of the land and political factors to be how those laws are made. For more detail on each, an internet search on Pestel will lead to plenty of additional information, as well as alternate formations of the acronym. The Pestel elements may be easy to describe, but they can be perplexing to accurately utilize in strategic analysis. This is because its elements can intersect with firm and industry-specific attributes in a way that can confuse whether the element should be considered part of the Pestel or if it is more pertinent to other forms of strategic analysis. For instance, imagine the launch of a new social media platform, which would be categorized as a new technology factor in the Pestel. For some companies, like your local convenience store, the new platform would be irrelevant, a non-event, as it wouldn't be important at all to their strategic decisions or their performance. On the other end of the spectrum, the new social media isn't just something that exists in the environment. Firms in industries that heavily utilize social media, say advertising agencies, would have to integrate the new platform into their decisions. Even more, incumbent social media firms like Instagram would have to figure out how to directly compete with the new platform. In these cases, the Pestel is no longer the right framework for analyzing how the new platform enters strategic decision-making. In the middle will be firms that pay attention to the new platform, even if social media isn't part of their core business activities. In these cases, the new social media platform would be Pestel. The nature and impact of the Pestel factors are subject to interpretation. Each of us can inject meaning into data and events, interpreting things based on personal perspectives and adding our own value judgments to them. Think back to the last national election or the advent of a new technology such as TikTok. Some people may think that event is fantastic and very good for business, while others may see the same event as a disaster. This means that we will each integrate Pestel elements into our decision-making in our own way. And this is true not only for events in the present, but how current Pestel conditions exist relative to the past or projections of the future. It is only natural to compare how things are to how things were and how things might be. Further, the attitude we take toward Pestel factors will shape our decision-making based on them. Two managers might see the same data and even interpret the data the same way, but if one frames it as an opportunity while the other sees it as a threat, their strategic decisions will be very different. Like the example of a new social media platform on the last slide, change is ongoing in all of the categories of the Pestel all the time. So an element that isn't important at one time may become important as time goes by. This slide describes the different levels of consideration that a manager might pay to factors in the Pestel. First, good strategic managers always keep their eyes open to the world around them, noticing interesting things. They may do this by reading the general news and watching for things that are making waves. Once something moves beyond a curiosity to a real dynamic, managers will start purposely monitoring its trajectories. Next, if that dynamic turns into something that is likely to be impactful to their businesses, they start to forecast responses. Once they have to act on the dynamic, it has moved out of the Pestel world and into the firm's strategies. The reverse may be true as well. Something that seems like it'll be important may fade. Those elements would lose the attention of managers over time if they become irrelevant. Next, applications of the Pestel have to be specified to the location of the business. Notice that I've been treating the Pestel factors as descriptions of a general environment of a country or region. For instance, each country has its own political system and legal frameworks. In this way, the Pestel is useful in noting distinctions between the business environments of different countries. We'll explore these differences in detail when we cover global strategy. They create opportunities for firms to match their business activities to the characteristics of those other countries. Managing and even taking advantage of those differences is at the core of international business. Of course, there can be variations within countries as well. Here in America, there are differences between the cultures and conditions among states. No one will ever argue that doing business in Georgia is the same as doing business in places like California or Minnesota. To conclude this presentation, the environments in which business take place have a significant influence on a firm's strategic decisions and the performance that results from them. The Pestel provides a framework to analyze those broad environments that set the conditions for all firms and industries in a country. When utilizing this framework, managers should focus on the factors that will have the most potential impact on their performance.